So welcome to the February home and school meeting. Thanks again for joining us. You will see in the chat that Terry is sharing the sign-in sheet. If you would please sign in. It's really helpful to have that information, those questions answered, but we'll also be hearing about Title One, and one of the things that helps us with our Title One to be in compliance is making sure that we have documentation of family engagement. So our meeting agenda for today, we will have a school update from President Davis, and there will be, as part of that, a review of the Winter Title One information. Then we will have a quick little update from the Alumni Association before going to the main topic of our meeting tonight, which is course selection. Um, we are so kindly joined by Miss Glenn, who is the roster chair at Central and also a great math teacher at our school, and she'll be going over course selection and some of the different aspects that go into that. After that, we'll have some home and school updates, class updates, before just reviewing upcoming dates for Central and closing out. So, like I said, we do have a packed agenda, so that's what we're jumping right in. So first up is our school update. President Davis, are you on?
Yes, I am. Hi, Esther. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and thank you for having me at tonight's meeting. I definitely want to make sure we reserve enough time for Miss Glenn and her wonderful, important updates. So, without further ado, next slide, please. I decided to go with the theme of letting some pictures share some celebrations and tell some stories. So these are two pictures from our athletics department. Our school is wrapping up the winter athletics season. And on the left-hand side, it's a little blurry, but you see our boys and girls swim team there. Last week, they won the district championships, both teams. And this has been the case, I believe, for 4 years straight, which was a really incredible accomplishment. I was there with them as they competed. And we have a number of student athletes who are moving on to state level competitions and also won some individual recognitions. So we're just incredibly proud of them and their hard work. On the right hand side of the screen, you see our girls indoor track, who also over the last weekend won the Public League Championships. Our girls and our boys team travel a lot to run, and we're just really proud of their hard work. Our girls basketball team, I don't have a photo of them, but they won their first round playoff game on Monday and they continue in their competitions. So winter sports are wrapping up in the next few weeks and we will be kicking off spring sports. Thank you. And a number of our spring sports have started some tryouts. I'm sorry, not tryouts, practices already. So if your student is involved in athletics or if you have any questions about athletics, we have a one pager that I know has circulated on the parent listserv before with all of our coach information. And just feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We are glad to share the information and just wonderful to have so many young people involved. Next slide, please. On this next slide, you see two things that are coming up that we are quite excited about, as well as I'll start on the right and move towards the left. In the end of January, despite the challenges we had with the snow and school closure, we had four incredible shows of Little Shop of Horrors, our musical. And so you see there some pictures. Their Instagram page has some wonderful photographs. There were two separate casts, and we had hundreds of families who were able to come and view the performances. So thank you so much for those who were able to support our arts department. 100% of the proceeds from the ticket sales goes directly back into future productions. The students make the costumes, they create the what's the word? All of the scenery that you see on the stage. They do the lighting and the sound. It is truly an incredible event, not to mention our orchestra who plays live on stage for each performance. So if you're able to catch that, it was a sight to be seen for sure. The other two images are things that we're celebrating in the month of February. Of course, February is Black History Month, and AASU stands for African American Student Union. We have a series of showcases that are coming up at the end of February, where a number of our student groups, clubs, and organizations will be presenting an incredible performance for our entire student body, as well as our faculty. And then last but not least, on this Friday, we have something new happening at Central High School, a Lunar New Year celebration that is a collaboration across a number of different school groups. And it is open to, as you can see there, students, friends, and families at Central High School. I think that I kept my updates short and sweet, and I believe the next slide kicks off for Title One. I do see some questions popping up in the chat, Esther, but I'll make sure to answer them at the end or if anyone's able to support in answering those. So shifting gears, Esther gave a really good introduction into the purpose of our winter Title One meeting. I don't want to take up too much time, but it is important to just share something that informs our programming moving forward. So if you are a returning family at Central High School, or if your student has come from a school district of Philadelphia elementary school into Central, you may be familiar with Title One meetings. What we do is at least 3 points throughout the year, we share information around the funding that we receive federally, as well as the programming that we are able to do with the support of these funds. So as you can see on the left-hand side, I'll start over there with the numbers. That shows you that at this school year, we have 2,343 students enrolled at Central. That chart on the bottom left corner shows what our enrollment has looked like over the last even more than 10 years, 12 years. And, it hovers around that number. We receive funding based on the number of students who are enrolled at our school across the school year. The amount of funding can change depending on our school enrollment, as well as the percentage of students who qualify as economically disadvantaged. So that number of 81.6% that you see sort of on the right-hand side is the school district's classification for Central High School. And what I did this time is I put at the bottom what that definition of economically disadvantaged is, because I get that question every year. It is a metric that can seem a little bit confusing. But what I would say is that the big takeaway is that over the years, we have seen the economic disadvantaged population at Central grow slightly. That number was in the 70s when I started at Central. Next slide. So what you will see is that this school year, one category of Central High School's budget is our Title I basic funding. We received $1,097,522 this school year, 25-26, for in Title I funding. The majority of Central High School's budget year over year goes towards paying our staff. There is flexibility as we are finalizing our budget where different staff members' funding comes from. Sometimes it comes from Title I funding. Usually it comes from a more generalized category of funding called our operating funding. There are positions at Central as well as at all other school districts, so School District of Philadelphia schools that are funded centrally from the school district, not our school specific budget. So examples of those positions would be nurses or English language teachers or special education teachers. Those are allocated by the school district. They're not specific to the funding that we receive year over year. There is flexibility with Title I. So we have seen over the course of the last few years a gradual increase in the Title I funding that Central receives. And you can see on the right-hand side of the screen how we have used this funding. The one category that I want to point out before I move on is around parental involvement. There is a percentage of our school budget each year that is dedicated to improving and supporting the involvement of families at our school. Historically, we've used some of this money to purchase the planners that students receive in the beginning of the year. We also make sure that our student and family handbook is printed in the planner as well. But there is always opportunities to suggest or present new ideas around the ways that we can utilize parental involvement funding at Central more effectively or to meet the needs of our school community in a better way. In some previous schools, I have heard of different events that have been put on, or sometimes we use the funds to purchase food for families when they come in. But the big takeaway is that your input and your voice matters, which leads us to our next slide. Okay, so this chart up at the top, I know Esther always kind of cringes when I show it, but this is the results of our parent and guardian survey that launches, I will say, at a difficult time every year, at the end of the year, usually in April or May, when there are a lot of different surveys and asks being shared with families. As you can see, over the course of the last 3 years, Central High School has not had stellar participation in this survey. It is a long survey. It is online. Sometimes if you have multiple children at the school in the school district, you are asked to take it multiple times, which we know can be challenging. The big takeaway is that this year we hope to have a higher percentage rate for participation because we take the responses of this survey into consideration absolutely when we're designing programming and making decisions at the school. It's important every year that we find time to ask our students, our faculty, our family community around, to share experiences around barriers to student success, suggestions for ways that we could improve our school. And if there are any asks around particular programming that you would like to see, we definitely want to collect that information. I want to acknowledge that sometimes a Zoom meeting is not always the best way to do that, right? If you're more comfortable to share your feedback via email or direct message on Zoom or share it directly with Esther or any member of the home and school, it'll come back to my administration. Any of those ways is fine, but we want to make sure that we ask the question and create a space for dialogue. I think that was the end of my slides, but I do want to, if you could just go back for a moment, I want to just ask each family who is logged on to make sure that they sign in on the sign-in sheet because we absolutely report participation in this meeting. And I'm just taking this opportunity to look at the chat to see if there's any questions that came up. If any parents or any participants on this meeting have any questions about this information or would like to provide any input, by all means, I welcome that at this time. And I apologize as my cat attempts to make a cameo in the meeting. Thank you, Terry, for linking the form and for providing the Central Athletic Team page. I see a great question about is Title I expected to decrease this year? So I don't want to speculate. I will say that many schools had a decrease in their Title I funding last year. Central High School did not, for whatever reason. And all principals in the school district of Philadelphia will participate in what we call budget season, creating our budget for the upcoming school year. It begins in March. And so I don't yet know how much money we will be working with in our budget yet, but I will know in about 3.5 weeks. The survey for parents and guardians, it's called the Philly School Experience Survey, PSES, because we know that everybody loves an acronym. And it has not been released yet. It's a springtime survey. We'll make sure to publish that in multiple places so that people can respond. Awesome. Esther, I don't think I missed any questions, but if they come up, please, I ask you guys to share it with us.
Okay, will do. Thank you so much, President Davis. And you definitely, if you are on the parent listserv, you will see messages from me about the Philly School Experience Survey. We they don't publish the responses if we don't meet a threshold, which we didn't meet last year. So like we don't have that data because we didn't meet the threshold. So please, 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 I think we can do it. We did it the year before with a little bit of nudging. So we will make sure to nudge again so that people don't miss that.
And I will say that we'll have paper copies available in the office too. So if you're someone who doesn't want to do an online survey, there's other ways.
And it is translated, like you can pick a language that you're most comfortable with. And yeah, so um
Would
President
you
David,
like me to share on this slide as well?
yeah, I was going to say, do you want to
Sure.
run through this
More
update?
than happy to. I do not work for AACHS, but as a member of the 264th graduating class, I'm always happy to speak on their behalf. Um, We've actually gotten some questions about the School District of Philadelphia's master facilities plan. It's been in the news. We've been reading about lots of different schools in the city and some challenges that they're facing with their school communities. Central is also named in that facilities plan. The plan has not been approved by the school board yet. We're going to see what happens. But this information about leading the way campaign on the top of their slide directly connects to that. If you're not familiar, there is an active fundraising campaign for the construction of a performing arts center on our campus, financially supported by a member of the alumni community. If you or anyone that you know wants to learn more about it, I encourage you to visit their website. And also know that AACHS is always able to accept gifts, and they have lots of creative, unique opportunities for customized gifts, gifts that are big and gifts that are small. And then last but not least, we have lots of parents who are also members of the alumni community. So we hope that if that pertains to you, that you're subscribed to their AACHS journal. It is a digital publication that comes out at least two, maybe three times a year. And so they always love to hear updates from members of the alumni community. And I will say that when each of your students graduates, they're automatically registered as members of this organization. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, I keep right clicking. All right. So, next up we have Miss Glenn. What I think most of you guys we have a big group tonight. I'm guessing it's because very important. Your students are probably talking about course selection because they are in the midst of it. So, I am going to stop screen sharing, so that I'm going to stop screen sharing. There we go. So that Miss Glenn can screen share.
Good evening, parents. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Amanda Glenn. I am the roster chair at Central High School. And tonight I would like to go over course selection process as well as my app to give you an idea as to how to support your student or students. So the course selection timeline is started January the 26th with our ninth graders. We ended up having a snow day that day, so I was able to meet with the ninth graders on the 28th virtual. And then we continued with the next grade, 10th graders on the 27th. Again, that was via virtue from home. I posted all of the subject selection information on the Google Classroom pages. So your students all have access to this PowerPoint presentation, as well as infographics, subject selection guide, and other resources. And lastly, I was able to speak with the rising 12th graders in person, where we had an assembly. We invited college representatives to talk to your students that are currently in the 11th grade about dual enrollment. Students were able to ask questions. The counselor, as well as other members in our school community, was able to speak to the students about the importance of subject selection. Uh, on the 2nd through the 13th, students were able to select classes via the student portal on Infinite Campus. So on the 13th, which is Friday, the subject selection window closed. However, on that day, they can still have access to my app. Okay. Tomorrow after school, I will have a drop-in session for all students that need additional support. And the roster team and I have been meeting with students during the advisory period and roster office hours to speak with them about different questions that they may have or to support them with, um, the technical aspect of the MyAd platform. I will say that our counselors have been a big help with this as well as all of our members on the administration team. So MyApp stands for Multi-Year Academic Planner, and this allows for students to choose their courses for all 4 years of high school in order to meet the graduation requirements. We ask that you, parents and guardians, that in early March, please visit your child's MyApp platform and please sign off on the courses that they selected. Between April and June, the roster team will begin to schedule students to their selected classes, and by late August, students should all be able to see their classes as well as start school in the classes that they have selected. So students will log on to Infinite Campus and then they will see this option here. When they click on the menu bar here, there will be a drop down and students are to go to the academic planner where they will see the student profile. And then we ask students to click on go to academic plan. When they do that, they will see this screen here. And this will display their past and current courses. Okay. So if you currently have a ninth grader, then the ninth grade, your students' courses for ninth grade will be listed here. Okay. And we ask that your ninth grader clicks on the 10th grade slot per subject to select their courses. Now, the roster team and I, that would be Miss Peoples, the assistant roster team, and myself, we did push into the ninth grade homeroom classes to support them with this and give them one-on-one help. If you have a current 10th grader, then they should see both ninth and 10th grade courses here. And then we ask that they click on the 11th grade box. And then likewise, if you have a current 11th grader, they would do the same, click on their 12th grade box. And so when they click on the box here, they're going to get all of the different options for the next year. So, for example, in grade 9, they're currently taking English 1. And then in grade 10, they should have options for English 2 and English 2 honors. We ask that students do not select web recovery. For parents that may not know what that is a class that the roster team assigns to students that need to make up a credit that they missed if they failed a class. If a student makes a mistake, they can always go to that course that they selected, click on the X, and it will remove the course, and then they would replace it with the one that they actually wanted. It's important that students complete each credit group. Okay, so a credit group would be the subject group. So here we have English. English is a credit group of a total of 4 credits. So what we would like to see is that by their 12th grade year, or actually their 11th grade year, when they go into the MyAd program and they begin to select in their 12th grade courses, that they should have 4 out of 4. If you have a current ninth grader, it should be 2 out of 4, right? Because they will only have their ninth grade class and their 10th grade class. Okay. And likewise, you would see the same thing for each credit group. When you look at math, math will only have a total of 3, and science will have a total of 3. And then I'll explain the other credit groups in a second. We ask that students save their work as they progress on, so that way they do not lose their work. Now, we know that at Central, some courses are very popular, right? And we ask students to select 3 alternate classes in the event that they do not get one of the classes that they really wanted to take as an elective, okay? So here are the graduation requirements to pass to graduate from Central High School or the School District of Philadelphia. Students must have 4 credits in English, 4 credits in social studies, 3 credits in mathematics, and 3 in science. They must have 1 credit for their 4th math or science, or this could be an AP or IB course. Okay. They must have 2 credits in world language. Ideally, they should have the same world language class. So let's say it was Spanish 1, then they should also have Spanish 2 or something like that. A half credit in health, 1 credit in physical education, 2 credits in arts and humanities, and they must have 3 credits in electives. Now, for the rising seniors, if you have a current 11th grader, they must have a multidisciplinary service learning project. They cannot select that now. I will put them in that class. And that goes along with their social studies class. So it's not an extra class. Okay. So this is an overview of the credits per grade level, which is what I went over previously. And what you can see at the bottom would be the totals. So by the end of their 9th grade year, they should have 5.5 credits. And by the end of their senior year, they should have 23.5 credits in order to graduate. Okay. And then here I put do enrollment options. Um, Maybe they want to take a dual enrollment course to replace an elective or some sort. So the students and roster team, as well as the counselors, will be able to see this academic plan, and this will show us a breakdown of the credits that they earned. Here, we would want to see by the 12th grade year that over here to your far right column under total, that this would be green. And that's an indication that your students are on track to graduate. Okay. As they are progressing on 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, this may be red because they are in the process of earning those credits. And so this is how an overview would look. So we would make sure that your students, that total has all green, right? As well as there are a few other requirements that the school district wants students to meet. Okay, I'm gonna
I'm gonna
skip
skip
over.
over.
So here
So
I inserted graduation requirement videos for students on their PowerPoint presentation in order for them to watch the videos with you in the event that you have additional questions. Okay, I have it in both Spanish and English, if that helps. Again, this is an overview of the credits required for graduation promotion, grade promotion, I'm sorry. And so for 10th grade, they should have the other screen said 5.5 credits. By the end of 11th grade year, they should have 11 credits. 12th grade year, I'm sorry, in order to be considered a 12th grader, they should have 17.5 credits by the end of their 11th grade year. So let me just repeat that because I think I messed that up. By the end of their ninth grade year, in order to be considered a 10th grader, they should have 5 credits or 5.5. And by the end of their 10th grade year, to be considered an 11th grader, they should have 11 credits. And by the end of their 11th grade year, to be considered a 12th grader, they should have 17.5 credits. And to graduate from Central High School as a school district of Philadelphia student, they should have 23.5 credits that they earn. Okay? This is very important that students earn their credits for their core subject areas at Central High School. So that means, because a few students were asking, can I skip English 3? No, they cannot skip English 3. They must take that class at Central High School. So for their core subjects, they should take their classes on site at Central. So here is a breakdown of those credits. The students have this as well. This gives them an overview of, for example, if I said you need 4 credits of history, then it tells them the exact classes they should take along the way. World history, African American history, US history, and social science. Some students may choose a different history class outside of social science. They may choose AP Gov or IB, global politics of that sort, but that would count as a part of their 4 credits of history. So this is a breakdown of the courses that students select at Central. For our 10th graders, they should select these courses. You can find this again on their PowerPoint as well as on the subject selection guide, which can be found on our school's website. So this is a traditional schedule for our 10th rising 10th graders. The only thing that I want to point out is that for social studies, they may take AP African American history as well. Here's a traditional schedule for our rising 11th graders. And then you have the traditional schedule for our rising 12th graders. I do want to let parents know some students are asking about study skills. Study skills is a period where students do not take an instructional, go to an instructional class. And so they have that time to study during that period. That's almost like a free period. Some students use that time to complete their dual enrollment coursework. Some students use that time to make up work from their current classes. Um, so this is an option for our rising 12th graders. However, it's important that when they are in my app that they select 6 courses. So do not select study skills, right? There will be a Google form that we will distribute to our students for them to complete if they are interested in study skills. If you have a student that's interested in the IB program, Mr. P is our IB coordinator. Here's his email. He will walk you through the benefits of the program. He will also be the one that will schedule the following courses for the rising 11th graders, as well as the following courses for the rising 12th graders. So they do not have to complete my app. Mr. P will do it for them. Let's talk about dual enrollment. The School District of Philadelphia partners with many colleges and universities in our area. And some I have listed here. There are some that are not on the list, but they are approved colleges and universities that students can enroll into that college and do take dual enrollment courses. Here, I want to highlight a website on the School District of Philadelphia's website. This is a page on their website. It's called the Post-Secondary Readiness. You can type that title into Google and it will take you right to the page. And on this page here, you will find many opportunities for seniors to participate in senior year only programs, also known as SIOP. This is a nice program for seniors to earn a high school diploma plus earn 24 college credits, and some of which they could transfer to their schools, if their college or university, if they would accept them. The School District of Philadelphia also has other programs such as Temple Education Scholars. There's a Animal Science and Food Systems Relationships program if your student is interested in that. You have Advanced Senior Year at Community College of Philadelphia, where they can earn up to 27 college credit toward an associate degree in liberal arts. And you have other programs here. So I encourage parents, if your students are interested in enrolling into one of these programs, that you go to this website, you read through the program details, determine how, if they are eligible and how to apply. LaSalle University, our neighbor, has two programs that I will promote today. One is the Community Scholars Program. This is a program for rising juniors and seniors, and this program is free. It is it consists of a cohort of students that will begin their program in the summer, and they will have take courses during the fall and spring semester of next year. We also have the LEAP program. Here, students will earn up to 12 credits. This is a 3-semester cohort model for 4 academic tracks. This is also for rising juniors and seniors. There is a GPA requirement of 3.0 or higher. And this, as in the Community Scholars Program, this is an in-person on-campus program. So they have to take their classes in person. Next, we have the Advanced at College program through Community College of Philadelphia. This program is for rising 11th and 12th graders during summer, fall, and spring semesters. However, I do want to add that there is the summer program is also open to rising 9th and 10th graders as well. Okay. So ideally, students that take courses through this program, they usually would do online courses. There are, however, in-person courses. So if they choose a course that is online, they do not have to worry about missing any of their central classes. We will build that course into their roster. All students have access, and you have access to the subject selection guide. We modified it for you, updated it, and we also included departmental infographics. So if you are interested in knowing about the expectations of a particular course, let's say your child wants to enroll in AP Gov, then you can look at the departmental infographics and it will walk you through the expectations, the rigor, the course load, things of that nature to give you an idea as to what your student may experience next year in that class. So this is important. The requirements for admission to an upper level course, that would be honors, AP, or IB. Students must have a cumulative grade average of B or better in a particular subject group. So, for example, if they want to take AP Calculus AB, then they must have a B or better in pre-calculus. Okay. Grades will be revisited at the end of the school year as we are looking at the end of the school year grade and not the individual quarter grade. So if your child earns, let's say, a 72 during quarter one, that will not prevent them from taking an upper level course. Okay. This is very important to know, parents, that elective capacities will be determined based on student interest, teacher availability, and the ability to fill required courses for graduation. So what that means is that we first look at do they have all their required courses to graduate? If they do, great. We would look at what grade level are they in. So if they are rising 12th grader, we would try to honor those requests first. And then we will fill in those classes with our rising 11th graders, following our rising 10th graders. So that is how students may get selected into a particular class. Sometimes we have students that we may have, let's say, 200 students that all requested to go into AP Lane, okay? And we may only have four classes, right? So in this case, that wouldn't be an elective. We would look at B or better. We would talk to teachers for the teacher endorsement process, and then we would make the selection. How to request a roster change. I know the lines were long this year. Okay. We inherited the roster this year. But this year, for 26-27 school year, Ms. Peoples and I, we are working very hard to make sure that the rosters are finalized to the students' liking. So this is why it's important that students select alternate courses and also that they talk to members in our community, such as assistant principals, the roster team, the counseling team, SBTLs, that would be, math, science, world language, etc. Those teacher leaders, right? Talk to their current teachers, ask questions, okay, about what courses would be most appropriate for them to take. And also, the number one person or people that they should talk to would be you, their parents. Okay, so please take a moment to look over their MyApp platform and to make sure that they are selecting appropriate courses. Many students want to request for a sports roster. Well, what is a sports roster? This is when students are given seventh or sixth or seventh period lunch in order to allow them to leave for a game. Okay. And this allows them also to not miss too much class time. But parents, this is only for students who are in two or more, or I'm sorry, students that are on two or more varsity teams. That's very important to make a note of. Okay. This year, students will not be given the form to make their own requests. The coaches will be given the form. They will send us the list of their athletes, and then we will go from there. Are there any questions for me? And Esther, if you could help me out, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Miss Glenn, thank you. First of all, thank you so much. Lots of information there. Um, Miss Peoples has been in here. Thank you, Miss Peoples, for answering some of these questions. I think one that has come up a couple times was if you could clarify what that fourth math/science/AP or IB course means.
Yes, thank you for that question. So let's say that your student in ninth grade, they took Algebra 1, 10th grade, they took geometry, in 11th grade, they took Algebra 2, following the traditional schedule. Then their fourth math or science credit, APIB as well, would be a fourth math class. So if they say, hey, I want to take pre-calculus my senior year, then that would count as a fourth math credit. They can also opt to take a fourth science class, right? Because they are only required to have completed three science classes to graduate. So if they take a fourth class, then that would be considered their fourth science credit. So they have the option of either one, a fourth math class, or two, a fourth science class, or they can opt to take an AP or IB class that is not a part of the required course. So what that means is if in English, let's say in their English class for 11th grade year, let's say instead of taking English 3, they decide to take AP Lang. Then that AP class wouldn't count as that fourth credit. It would count as a part of their English credit, if that makes sense. If they took, um, let's say, IB psychology, now that may count as that fourth credit. So as long as the fourth credit is not a required course to graduate, then they will get it, if that makes sense. Dual enrollment also can count as a fourth math science AP IB credit. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. I guess speaking on the dual enrollment, someone did ask what is the timeline for dual enrollment?
As far as applications,
Yes.
once we get information from our partner colleges and universities, then I will be able to send out a notice, as I did in the past. I think I had Dr. Soda and Mr. Horitz. They sent out notices on my behalf. So once I get that information, I will post it on their Google Classroom pages. And then the students will be able to access that information as far as deadlines and any additional information, requirements and things of that nature. And perhaps maybe the principal could send out a letter, to the parents, but I don't want to say that for certain. But for sure, we will have it on the Google Classroom pages.
Okay. Thank you. Another one that I think is a similar question. It's been asked a couple times is like, how are decisions made in terms of like, because you said there are some classes that are limited, right? How are decisions made in terms of electives or AP? So I think one example was an 11th grader who didn't get any AP classes. Is there any consideration for them to get AP? Or if a student selected an elective one year and didn't get it, are they like, I guess, given a priority to be in the elective the following year?
We are looking at the grade level, and we are looking at teacher endorsements this year. So we will pull all the requests and we will fine tune it. So that's the best that I could tell you as far as what we have here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, I think a lot of the other questions have been answered in the chat. I don't know if there was anything else or Miss Peoples or AP
Sure,
Myra.
I have one. If one student parent was asking, see, can you mute that? Sorry. One parent was asking for a student who has not taken pre-calculus yet, but their student wants to take calculus next year. Could they suffice that class over the summer, Miss Glenn? I wasn't sure of the answer to that.
So the answer to that question, and I'm going to quote our assistant principal, Dr. Francis Maurer, who stated that a handful of students have been able to test out of geometry and or pre-calc. If a student or family would like to understand this experience, they should email Mr. John Zach or Dr. Francis Maurer. As far as I know, students must have an A in their prerequisite classes, and they must pass a math exam as far as pre-calc is concerned. But again, I would tell you to reach out to Mr. Zach and Dr. Francis Maurer about that.
Ms. Glenn, can you talk more about potential sports rosters for students who have sports commitments outside of Central, but they're not on Central specific teams?
Yes. I do want to say one more thing. The core, and this is and I want to quote Mr. Zach. He did mention that all core courses should be taken at Central High School. So that was something that was in the PowerPoint presentation that I just went over. So I just want to make mention of that one more time. All core courses should be taken on site at Central High School. Okay. As far as sports rosters, if a student is on a team outside of Central, I would have to speak with the athletic director about the requirements for getting a sports roster. But this is for varsity teams at Central High School.
Esther and Miss Glenn, there's a question I don't think was answered. He says, my student is not able to complete his enrollment in my app until he receives approval to join AP Art. How can we expedite this approval?
He should come to the roster office, which is office number 254 during his advisory period, and I will support him.
Um,
You
oh,
did say AP, you said AP art, right? So I believe that did the student take art too? It's important that parents, along with their children, read the subject selection guide because in the subject selection guide, you will see all the courses and their prerequisites. But again, he could come to the office. I will support him.
okay. I'm just trying to look through. There's so much going on in the chat, so I'm trying to see if um I think what might be best, Miss Glenn, is I kind of like try to get some of these questions that may not have been answered and
Yeah.
send them over to you. And then what we can do, folks, is put that with our follow-up to this meeting. It will also be posted on the Central HSA website. So I'll have the slide decks, the links to all of these things, the recording to this meeting. There's a lot of questions.
And I have a link here. Sorry, I gave you the longer link for parents. So
Oh,
please feel free to complete the parent subject selection question form by typing in your name, your student or students' names, identify the grade levels, okay, and then type your question here.
oh, that's perfect.
And
And
Ms.
that
Peoples and I will try our best to answer your questions, and perhaps we can see if President Davis can post the responses, if that helps.
Yeah, that would be super helpful. And that makes it way easy that there's a form. So what we'll do is send this form out so that people can put their questions there. Um, but yeah, again, thank you, Miss Glenn. Thank you, Miss Peoples, for being on the call. I know it's outside of your work hours and just joining us to go over that. I did just so everyone knows, as a parent on your parent portal, you also can see the My App, like what your student has selected. So it's also in there if you were like, oh, did my kiddo actually like put anything in for this semester and or for next year, I guess, so that you can ask them. So just check Infinite Campus. I can actually probably because I pulled it up on my thing. Um, so if you are in Infinite Campus as a parent, you're also just going here, you're going to academic plan, hitting next, and it should pop up. So you'll see like, so I have a sophomore right now. So I know he's not done because he has to ask a million people a million questions, but these you'll see if they put anything in here. So if you have any questions, just shoot an email to president@centralhsa.org, or you can send it to the main group on how to get that. And then, yeah, I think we are gonna jump into the rest of our meeting. But again, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Miss Glenn and Miss Peoples.
All right. Have a good evening.
Bye. Okay. So we are going to jump into HSA updates with our last half hour. Um, did this start for? Yes, it worked. All right, home and school updates. So it does say Nina, but Alan is joining us and is going to cover the treasurer's report tonight.
Thanks, Esther, and appreciations to Nina in absentia, who has so well coached me up for pinch hitting for her this evening. I am standing on her wonderful shoulders and am proud to make this treasurer's report to all of you. First and foremost, I think I want to give big love and celebration to not only each and every one of you, but the entire community for this second bullet. We brought in well over $10,000 in our Giving Tuesday campaign. 10,000 was our goal. Whoop, whoop. Thank you all for your tremendous passion, for your generosity. The entire community stepped up, and this impactful fundraise will help fill our coffers and ensure vibrancy for many of our programs moving forward. So again, kudos to each and every one of you for their support. And again, to Nina for her leadership in spearheading this campaign. Why do we raise funds? We raise funds to be able to provide critical grants to our programmatic areas. And this past month, earlier in our conversation this evening, President was talking about our performance this past month of Little Shop of Horrors, and the vast majority of our expenditures this past month went to buying and purchasing supplies for Little Shop of Horrors. You could see this articulated here on this third bullet. This was a really exciting usage of our funds, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of so many of you. It was an incredibly wonderful performance, really inspiring, and money well spent for all of our wonderful young people. That ultimately leaves us here as of last recording of 12/1, around $40,000 in the bank overall for our treasury. Any questions? All right, then I pass the baton back to Esther.
All right. So just in terms of fundraising, we will be doing a spring spirit wear sale. In terms of there will be a form that goes out. You have to fill it out, pay via Venmo or Cash App. And then the order will be packaged and ready for your student to pick up. Um, Sometimes from Dr. Scott's office, sometimes from AP Myrick's office. All we ask is that you give your kid a reminder every morning. Don't forget to pick up your spirit wear. Maybe send a couple texts so that we don't have the spirit wear staying in those offices. But yeah, we have done a great job in selling that merch. It really helps with our fundraising. So if you need some new stuff, please consider ordering in the spring spirit wear sale. It's probably going to go out before spring break. So sometime in the next few weeks, that order form will be out. Like Alan shared, we raised over $10,000 in our Caring for Central campaign. So we passed our goal. Like I always like to plug, if every Central family gave just $5, we would reach this goal. We actually did it with 94 donors, which means that there were some families who were able to really donate over that. But we always collect. Our PayPal is up. So if you want to participate in the Caring for Central campaign, you can send $5 and really support the home and school. So what do we do with this money? We have $28,000 that we budget for department grants. Each academic department, the Student Government Association, and some of the other kind of like the health center counseling department, we have $2,000 available for them to use to purchase materials, licenses for programs, paper. The math department needs paper, so that's always their big thing. We also do class grants, so that the class sponsors can pay for some class activities or things related to that. Our seniors do get the biggest uh, piece of that, just because they do have so many different activities that happen tied to their graduation and prom. And that is something that we would love to continue. And then we have student and teacher events that we help out with. So you actually will hear about International Day and Staff Appreciation Lunch. We can always use some help with actual volunteers. But if you go to our website and donate, that helps us with that. If you are not able to be there in person, or if you purchase spirit wear. Um, you will also now, you will see in follow-ups to this meeting and through the parent listserv and parent portal, a call for people to help with the spring auction. That could be donations, that could be as part of the actual planning meeting that will be starting up in the next week or two. So please keep an eye out for that. It's our big fundraiser, so we need all the support we can get. All right, Terry, campus beautification.
Thanks, Esther. All right, coming up next for our Soap Central, which is where we provide make sure that there is soap and supplies in the bathrooms when we have events like report card conferences or the musical or spring concerts, whatever, where we have an influx of people coming into the building for an event that may deplete our supplies in the bathroom faster than normal. I actually overheard multiple comments about the nights of the musical in the bathrooms. People, adults and students that were happy that there was nice smelling soap and soap available in the bathrooms. But so the AASU showcase is the next event outside of school hours that's coming up. That will be Thursday, February 26th from 5 to 7. So I will put out a call for volunteers to place soaps in the first floor bathroom. Students get community service hours for that, for anything you do with the beautification committee, and in general the home and school, students can be eligible for community service hours. As far as cleanups, it's not nice out there on the campus yet. Hopefully this next week will open up some space. I am pulling together a list of Saturdays that will have access to the building, so we can do a bigger outdoor cleanup. So stay tuned for that. Definitely need parent participation, even if it's just to oversee groups of students and keep them organized. So that's Saturday morning cleanups coming up. The city has not announced a date for the Philly Spring cleanup. It is typically the first weekend in April, which is the second weekend of spring break this year. So I'm not sure how that will play out, but stay tuned for that as well. Any interest or ideas for projects in and around the school, send me an email, and looking forward to working with everybody.
Thanks, Terry. All right. Now we're going to go into class updates. Oh, one other thing before class updates. I did put in the chat our central HSA fundraising is where you can find like the donate button. I do want to say that we are trying to keep our website up to date. So you'll see on that front page, just like general information about things. We also have a parent, Tanya, who has been doing those updates. So really wanted just to give a shout out for that getting done. You will see in our meeting section that the slide decks from previous meetings are there. That's also where you can find the links to the recordings. So that is a space that you can find more information about the home and school if you are not sure what's going on. All right, now we can go into class updates. And I think Debbie is back. Debbie, are you on?
Okay, there. I had to get
All
off.
right.
Hello, I made it back. So, Little Shop of Horrors, I guess it was spoken about before, so we don't really need to mention it, but it was a huge success. I couldn't make it. I was so bummed. I was scheduled to go the snow day one and didn't get there. But I heard that everyone was amazing, including Amy Arcara's daughter. I don't know if anyone else on here had a child but in it, but I know she did, and she was amazing from everything I heard and saw because she sent me video. So kudos to everyone on that. And we're so thankful that we get these amazing productions and everyone just works so well together to make them happen. The blood drive took place today. And thanks to Mr. Harwitz and the volunteers who make this happen, evidently they collected 285 pints of blood, and the ones running it were the 285. So that's pretty cool. I tried to donate, but my iron wasn't high enough, so I didn't count. There is a women in sports program at St. Joe's tomorrow, and some of the female athletes in the school are invited to participate, so that's nice. The senior ski trip is coming up at Montage Mountain. The kids need to make sure that they have their forms in, giving them permission to go and their money in. We still need chaperones, and Would love anyone. You do not need to be a 285 parent to chaperone, but you do have to have your clearances on file at the office at Central High School. And all of the information for clearances is on the SDP website and the Central website, or the Central website sends you to the SDP website. It's super easy to get them done. You can get them done quickly. And if you are skiing, you want to ski while you chaperone, then you do have to pay the $110 fee. If you're just going to chaperone as I am, then it is free. And that's because we don't get it for free, and the school doesn't have the money to cover the parents who want to ski. It just costs money for them to do so. Like there's no, it's just covering that. Central at the Phillies, May 8th. Get your tickets. They're still early bird and they're available $40 online. I think I have another page. Thank you. 285 commencement will be June 10th at the Kimmel Center. Additional details will follow, but that's exciting to know the date and time, 10 o'clock. Class dues must have them in prior to graduation, $250 a person. And you can pay online at School Cash Online or in room 207, but they really prefer you pay everything online. You must pay to walk at graduation. Community service hours, we'll all talk about. Seniors are required to complete 30 hours at this point unless they already submitted them, and that must be submitted by May 16th. And there are plenty of opportunities for community service. I know that someone posted one today, I think. The guidelines are on Google Classroom. March Madness, sorry, something popped, okay. 285 versus 286 is March 13th. Thank you, whoever put that in for me. I'm guessing maybe Amy, I'm not sure. And additional activities are being planned as well, prom, Central 5K, etc. So that's it.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thanks.
All right. Amy.
Hi, I wanted to thank Mary Ellis because she helped with the slides this week. And if you're on here, Mary Ellis, you can pop on too. So all of our important events, we went over a lot of them so far. SAT for the 11th graders, March 25th, sorry, will be held at Central. And of course that you don't have to pay for that. That's already paid for. March Madness is this Friday, uh, as Debbie already said, and it's an early dismissal, so it starts right
Wait,
after
it's
early
this
dismissal.
Friday?
Oh, I'm sorry, March 13th.
Sorry.
But that's an early dismissal too, sorry.
Excellent. Sorry. I'm like, wait.
The tickets are $5 if you buy them from a team member or in room 207, and $10 it will be at the door. Also, starting on March 13th is the Battle of the Classes, and more information will come. I think that's a week-long thing, and it starts on that same day as March Madness. So more information will be coming on that. Central 5K, I just found out today, is April 17th. Our junior prom, yay! That's coming up right around the corner, April 9th. It will be at the ballroom at the Ben from 7 until 11. Tickets go on sale this Saturday. The price is $90 plus the fee. I think it's like $1.50 fee. That's online, and then it's $100 if you pay in cash or check. There will also be forms for if your student's date is not a central student, they need to fill out a form, and that will be coming. And there's also guidelines. You can't leave early from school, etc. And that is a Thursday night. The next day is a early dismissal, but we do have school the next day, but it's just a half day. We already talked about junior senior picnic will be coming. We don't have the date yet. So that's usually in June. It's right at the end of the school year. So more information on that will be coming. Next slide, please. Class dues, please make sure you pay by the end of the year so that you can have half of it done and then you can do the other half next year for a total of 250. The class ring ceremony took place on February 9th and was a nice success. We have, and there's a picture of it there of everybody that attended. We have 286 merchandise available in room 207, hoodies $40, tees $330, and small tees $25. Next slide, please. Black History Month contest. I send this out on an email on the listserv too, with all the information for the Black History Essay Contest due February 18th. There's a student well-being survey that teachers and advisors are asking all students to take. And any advisory class that has 100% precipitation, you'll get a sweet treat in your class. It doesn't take long. The kids can do it on their Chromebooks at any time. And our participation rate is really low, so they're trying to get more students to take it. And finally, the deadline for the CIEE Summer Study Abroad program is February 25th. I think they had a workshop today for that. If you have any questions, you can also, there's information on registering. I think they have someone that you can contact if you go to the registration form. Thank you very much and have a great week, everybody.
Can I jump in for a minute?
Yes.
This is AP Myrick. For the Black History Month contest, the my neighbor always sends me that information because she works in that office and she doesn't get a lot of replies. So she knows I'm at Central. So a Central applicant would be highly favored. So please tell your kids to write the essay because she really wants to give that money away. Trust me.
Thank you.
And so there was a question, I guess, in the chat, AP Marek, that's open to all grades.
That is all grades, correct.
Okay. Amy and Mary Alice do a great job of getting 286 updates, and they do go through like our parent group pretty often. I recommend, even if you are not a 286 parent, to take a look because there's oftentimes things that apply to all classes. And it's also a good way of previewing if you are an underclassman parent, like, oh, this is what's coming up, right? So even if, if an email comes through and it says 285, 286, I highly recommend to take a look at it and read it because there are oftentimes things that are applicable to everyone. And if not this year, it's something that you're like, oh, I remember seeing something about this essay contest or this dual enrollment or this application or whatever. And you kind of have that insight. Or like that like the ring ceremony, like that's a thing. So like let's get a ring and participate. A lot of these things are traditions of Central that come year in and year out. So don't ignore the email just because it says 286 or 285. Okay.
Also, this was posted to every Google Classroom, so all classes know about this. And the school gets an email from the district every Friday that talks about scholarship opportunities, internships. I post that every week, so if kids check their classrooms every week, there's always something about an internship or a scholarship. But a lot of kids just don't look, so it is always there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely make sure they are checking in on those Google Classroom posts. Also, I'm seeing questions and stuff pop up in the chat about CIEE. Um, Miss Rodriguez, who is a Spanish teacher and the school-based teacher lead for world languages at Central, she actually presented um, at the December home and school meeting and talked a little bit about CIE. So I recommend if you want to go back to that meeting and look at that, you could also reach out to Miss Rodriguez to get some questions answered. Um, my student who's a sophomore, he applied for the summer, so definitely like saw I think all grades. I think for seniors it's a little bit different because they're graduating high school, so I think they might do a different program. But my daughter, for instance, who's in college, did study abroad through CIEE her fall semester for her sophomore year. So it's also a program that has things for college students. So definitely check out their website if you have more questions. That are specific, Miss Rodriguez can probably help answer them. And then the December home and school meeting, she did give an overview about it. So you can always check out that recording of the meeting to get a little more insight on what that is. Okay. 287, did we have any updates for 287?
287. Yes. I don't know what happened to the slide. Renee
Oh,
had,
here
oh,
we
there
go.
it is.
Sorry about that. Probably
Oh,
the
that's
Google link.
okay. Renee updated it. So thank you, Renee, for that. I don't think she's on. It's great to follow Amy Arcaro. Amy is so thorough. And thank you, Amy, as always. 287 updates. Most of this was covered through the other classes. But 287 specific, there is a bake sale coming up, and that's going to help support funding for the soft hop, which is great. And sort of the extra things that the kids have been planning. Mr. Martin and the kids are doing a lot, and it's really great. So that's exciting. There's a 287 talent show coming up on March 24th during the SEL day. And the sign up form, if it hasn't gone out already, it will be going out soon. The sophomore hop is April 23rd. It's going to be at the Arts Ballroom in Center City from 7 to 10. And I know the class shirts went out. Every student got a class t-shirt and all of the names are on the back of it. And that's really special. And every child got one. So that was really nice. And the dues went to support, part of the dues went to support that. So every child got a t-shirt and that was very nice. And that's it for 287 specifics.
Thank you. Um, and just also plugging the Central Night at the Phillies. This is for everyone, students, parents, alumni. Anyone is eligible to buy those tickets. So I didn't stress that with the other classes that included that in their updates. It's a fun night. The kids end up like all sitting in different areas anyway. So like just get your tickets, let them do their thing, and it's a good time. All right. And our last class are 288s.
Hello, everyone. Couple of things are already listed that we already talked about, but I'm going to go over this. Term 3 interim reports are just around the corner, and they will be issued on February 19th. Students should complete their well-being surveys. The check out the study abroad, we talked about that. The My App, of course, wonderful, Ms. Glenn. Thank you so much. And also AP Myrick listed, if you have sent in absent notes and absences are still showing, please email him. And this is his email listed below. And also the community service, 20 hours are due by May 16th for our freshmen. And I think that is it.
Thank you, Renita. All right. These are some upcoming dates and events that are on the Central's website. Thank you to Jennifer for putting these together. Yeah. They got a long weekend this weekend. They get an early dismissal Friday and then Monday and Tuesday off. So, our students will get some much needed rest. And then after that is the interim reports are released. In March, there is another early day and then no school on the 20th. The Multicultural Cafe is going to be more March 24th. So we will be sending something out for parents to volunteer and help support that. We, as parent volunteers, usually I kind of set it up where like there's different shifts, but if you want to hang out all day, you are welcome to. Um, it's a really cool event where students can bring dishes from different cultures. I mean, the whole wrestling gym is lined with tables filled with food. Our main thing is to try to keep it as tidy as possible when you have hundreds of students coming in and serving themselves food. Um, and yeah, so if you are available March 24th to help out, it would be great if you can come for a couple hours and experience that. And then, as was mentioned in the updates, there's the school SAT day on March 25th, and spring break this year is March 30th through April 3rd. Um, all right, I think that brings us to the end. Um, So yeah, if there are any other questions people want to throw in the chat or ask, we have about 2 more minutes. We actually ended on time. I am very happy about that. But other than that, I hope everyone has a good night.
When is the next home and school association meeting?
So we usually meet the second Wednesday of every month. So it's probably March 11th.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, usually March and February are on the same date because February having 28 days. So, yeah, March 11th will be our next meeting. It will be virtual. And then our April meeting, the hope is to actually be in person, and that will be April 15th. Okay?
Tax day.
How can they find out about the Black History essay contest?
So I would ask your student if they could log into their Google Classroom for their class page. So like they'll have a classroom in their Google Classroom that is, I don't know if they're a 287, let's say. It'll be called 287. Go in there and it should be posted in there.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Stay warm out there. Can't
Bye.
wait for the
Bye.
spring. Have a good one.